Πριν περάσουμε στις κεντρικές ομιλίες, θα πρότεινα να ακούσουμε την κυρία Dina Ghobashy, Senior Manager Education Leadership at Microsoft, στο βίντεο που ακολουθεί. Για να ακούσουμε τι μας λέει η κυρία Ghobashy για αυτά που συμβαίνουν λίγο μακριά, αλλά όχι και τόσο μακριά, στην Αμερική.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for having me today. You know as much as I do that every student is different, that every student is a unique individual that has specific talent, abilities, ambitions, aspirations, and different approaches to learning. But it hasn't really been easy for us as educators to get to support every student in their own individual needs. We've had many obstacles and challenges. There are a lot more students than teachers. The teacher to student ratio, it doesn't really enable teachers to be able to support every student. There are students that are in remote and rural settings, preventing us from being able to track their progress. There is also not enough time. There is so much administrative overhead, track and homework, attendance, tests, etc., that takes time away from teachers being able to really connect with every student and being able to support them directly. Meanwhile, the pace of technology and innovation advances has been constantly accelerating. The time span between disruptive historical events on the technology front is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And the Industrial Revolution has completely just blurred the lines between the digital, the physical, and the biological, creating a platform right now that is impacting all aspects of our lives. And if you don't remember how things were just 15 years ago, I have a few friends here to remind you.
I remember when you had to be at a computer to get an email. I remember when you couldn't make a movie on a cell phone. I remember when you had to go to a theater to see a first-run movie. Airplanes didn't have broadband. I remember dial-up. I remember when you had to buy your music at the store. I remember asking for directions. I remember when my dad worked in a place called an office.
Exactly. It just has been a huge transformation in the last 15 years. And we'll even seeing more and more accelerated innovation happening on the Internet of Things, on the artificial intelligence front. And 5G is going to accelerate a lot of this growth and enable it to continue to impact our life and reshape the way we learn, we live, and the way we work as well. Now, let's see how the blend of digital and physical, or phygital as we call it, could look like in the very near future.
As computing becomes embedded in the real world is being embedded in computing. That's mesh, the metaverse. As we look to the future, this metaverse will be every bit as foundational to our lived experiences as the internet is today. We're taking that experience and building mesh right into Teams. I'd like to give you a sneak preview of how it's recreating a lot of what we value from being together at work, and how it's extending productivity beyond what was previously possible. How you show up in an immersive space is still you. How you project yourself really matters. So we're giving you control to customize your avatar to embody your preferred look and style. These avatars are powered by AI to imitate subtle movements and gestures based on voice and tone. They also animate according to your live reactions in Teams. Avatars within immersive spaces enable people to bring their physical presence into the conversation when they don't have their camera turned on. Let's look at the immersive space we created with Accenture, with lobbies, welcome areas, meeting rooms, the works. The freedom to explore these spaces really gives you the feeling of being together, the opportunity to have those spontaneous connections. Just look at how everyone in the space is socializing and connecting with each other. One unique benefit of mesh immersive spaces that you can't experience in the physical world is the integrated transcription and translation of conversations. For example, for people with hearing difficulties, conversations can be read via live transcriptions. Additionally, thanks to Azure Cognitive Services, I can simply read what they're saying without a translator. It's all about inclusivity and accessibility. We're also bringing Microsoft 365 apps into the mesh experience. So I can walk into a space with a digital whiteboard and feel as if I'm there together with colleagues as we brainstorm on a digital canvas. With Microsoft 365 integration, users can seamlessly access content, files, or documents via OneDrive, which you can then edit, annotate, or share with others. You can even use 3D objects and interact with them as you would in the real world. All these mesh experiences and teams will be supported on PC, mobile, and a variety of mixed reality headsets coming to users in the first half of 2022.
With that kind of technology available to us, our education systems can now adapt to fit the needs of every student and to put them in an immersive experience that allows them to deeply grasp all of the concepts that we are communicating and sharing with them and hoping that they learn and master. We now have multiple favorable conditions coming together. So now is the time to seize the moment and truly transform education. We have more and more people, including parents, that are becoming dissatisfied and aware of the shortcomings of the existing education systems. We have alternatives made possible by technology, and the disruption that just happened with the pandemic give us a chance to now sit back, rethink, and reimagine. And most importantly, I'd say, we have you, our courageous leaders, who are not afraid to try new approaches in order to meet the needs of all students. You know, the pandemic, while a humanitarian disaster, it sparked innovation. Take the city where I live, for example, San Francisco. During the lockdown, restaurants were not allowed to have indoor seating. So the city allowed restaurants to take advantage of the parking spot right in front of them to have outdoor seating. And San Francisco restaurants became completely creative with the way they designed their outdoor space for their customers. They wanted to give them a unique experience. And they called these structures that they started building in these parking spots, they called them parklets. And it became really popular. And now that the parklets have become really popular among people in San Francisco, the city decided to keep it even after the pandemic. So a city like San Francisco with the great weather, year-round, most days in a year, the weather is fantastic. Before the pandemic, there wasn't any outdoor seating. There was hardly, a few restaurants that were offering that. And now because of the pandemic, the city is getting all of these outdoor dining opportunities that it deserves and that people expect from it. We have experienced similar creativity and innovation in the world of education and in schools. You have experienced that. Throughout the pandemic, we've seen lots of teachers, students, and leaders step up and come up with innovations that were driven by the needs of the moment. But these innovations, most of them are here to stay. So to do that, we must really elevate the impact of technology. From a tool that we think about that is only about delivering content and simply about sharing content, to a tool that enables discovery, collaboration, and making a difference in the world. It is no longer a question of whether we should or should not embrace technology. That conversation is ended. It's about how and how fast can we embrace technology. There is no moving backwards as we look ahead to the future of education now post-pandemic. And at our fingertips today as leaders, We have tools that enable us to custom fit learning for every student, to provide education to those marginalized students in our system, and to use data in order to gain visibility into the progress and to know which student needs what support in a very timely manner. I think a common thread that we always see in every innovation is that it's all about people. People must be involved at every stage of innovation, from discovery, development, execution, and adoption. And every effective digital transformation that Microsoft has seen has been people-led and technology-enabled. It must prioritize people rather than just focus on technology alone. And that's Microsoft's mission, to empower every student on the planet to achieve more. As you can see, it's people-centered, and technology is just an enabler. We want to use the power of AI, of 5G, of quantum computing to make a difference to individuals and their communities with a diverse range of skills, cultures, and backgrounds. So partner with us to help continue your education transformation journey. And yes, I say continue because we all started during the pandemic, even if we haven't started before the pandemic. Transformation Framework is a tool that you can use to envision what's possible and design a solution in order to achieve it and make it a reality in your school. So I want to know what opportunities you see ahead. What has transpired? What have you been thinking could really transform in your school or system? We want to continue to be having these conversations with forward-thinking education leaders like you so that we at Microsoft can continue to learn and develop solutions that address the evolving needs of your school and your education system. So thank you so much for having me today again. It's been a pleasure, and have a great rest of your event.
Ευχαριστούμε πολύ την κυρία Ghobashy. Όλοι καταλήγουμε ότι η δυσκολία είναι ο καταλύτης για τη δημιουργικότητα, για την ανάπτυξη, για την πρόοδο. Χαιρόμαστε ιδιαίτερα που η Microsoft στηρίζει τις προσπάθειές μας και μπορώ να πω ότι αποτελεί και την αφορμή για να ενεργοποιηθούμε περισσότερο, για να ανταποκριθούμε σε όλες αυτές τις αλλαγές, στις προκλήσεις των καιρών που μας καλούν να είμαστε εκεί παρόντες για να προσφέρουμε το καλύτερο στους μαθητές μας.